Hello, welcome to a special series of Art Pays Me interviews with the winners of the 2024 Creative Nova Scotia Awards. Presented annually by Arts Nova Scotia and the Creative Nova Scotia Leadership Council, these awards celebrate artistic excellence across Mi'kmaq. Award categories are as follows: Creative Community Impact, Prix Grand Prix, Established Artist, Emerging Artist, Black Artist, Indigenous Artist, and finally, the Portia White Prize that is given to a person who has made outstanding and significant contributions to Nova Scotia's creative community over a sustained career, much like the incredible woman that the award is named after. The winner will also choose an emerging artist or cultural organization that they feel deserve recognition. Collectively, the awards are worth $75,000. Visit artsns.ca to nominate your favorite Nova Scotia artist or nominate yourself. This series would not be possible without the fantastic production work of Heist and Kiki Beats. On this episode, I spoke with Oriana Donker, who is representing the Writers' Federation in Nova Scotia and speaking on behalf of them as they won the Community Impact Award this year. And it was interesting to hear the different ways that they help the writing community in Nova Scotia thrive. It's a great chat, and hopefully you learned some things like I did. Hi, how are you today?
Great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to chat with you, actually. So I'm very new to this organization, even though I've been kind of around it, not even realizing I was around it all this time. So it's amazing to see the dots connect a bit, and I'm going to be talking with you probably a lot more going forward. But before we get into all of that, let's hear your name, your pronouns, and your role.
My name is Oriana Dunker. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Executive Director of the Writers' Federation of Nova Scotia. And I've been in this role for just over a year.
Yeah, so congrats on the new role. I mean, a year sounds like a long time to some people, but I know in this type of role,
it sped by really quickly.
Yeah, it's a lot to take on. So what's the driving force behind the work that Writers' Federation Nova Scotia does?
So the Writers' Federation is an arts service organization that serves writers across the province, and we were founded on the philosophy of writers helping writers, which I really love, and I think that really informs, still to this day, a lot of the work that we do. It was founded in 1976, so we're coming up on our 50th anniversary, which is pretty exciting in a few years. And we offer a really broad range of programs and events and services to writers across the province. We offer things for not just professional writers, but also emerging writers, people who are really have got a story in them, have wanted to try their hand at writing something, but maybe have been apprehensive to do so. We have programs for everyone.
Sweet. So I understand you're not a writer, but you've been around arts organizations for a long time, and obviously you must love books.
I do. Yeah.
So what's a book you've read recently?
A book I've read recently. I just finished The Arrows of Mercy by Jill McLean. She's a local author. I think she's written primarily for kids before, but this book just came out, I think it was last year. And interestingly, she self-published this book, even though she's traditionally published before. It's a story about an archer in the 14th century, just came back from France fighting in the 100-year war, comes back to a small village to start his life up again, and then the plague hits, and it all goes sideways. And actually, I studied medieval history, so I was really excited to pick that book up.
Of course. Nice. So this organization does a lot of great things for the community. Is there anything in particular you'd like to continue doing, or something maybe new you'd like to do?
Yeah, I hesitate to say that I want to add a lot more to what we already do, because we're a small team. There are only three of us here in the office, although we did just hire a fourth staff person, and we have 2 folks working for us in the Valley as well. So we already have a lot on our plate. But what I would like to continue to do and to get better at doing as an organization is really being a provincial organization. So many of our members live in Halifax. Mm-hmm. Most of us are based in Halifax. A lot of our programming in the past has been Halifax-centric. And especially when the pandemic hit, things went online. but still we weren't reaching as well as we could, perhaps, writers in the far corners of the province. So something that I've been prioritizing in my work since I started is trying to get to know writers in every region, and trying to work with them to build relationships and to bring events to them, to not ask them to always drive into this, into the city. But a lot of our programs are open to writers all across the province. So it's something we're trying to build on that.
Right. Amazing. So knowing what I know about creative types, as you're doing this outreach, are you finding that there are a lot of people who are gems of creativity, who have just been in these corners of the province, unrecognized, but also not able to sort of have the personality to bring themselves forward? Is that something you're...
Yeah, for sure. I think self-promotion as an author is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
It's hard. This goes, I'm sure, for artists across all of the artistic disciplines, but it's hard to sell yourself and your work,
Yeah.
and to promote yourself. And I hope that we play a role in that. I like to think that when we organize events in other towns across Nova Scotia, that we're giving them, writers in those areas, a platform and a bit of promotion to say that those artistic disciplines are really thriving. And I'm thinking, for example, of Pictou County.
Yeah.
So that's a region that I've been trying to build some connections with. They have a very active writing community, not necessarily all members of our organization, but on their own they've built up this lovely community that really supports each other in their work. And I'd like to be able to highlight those kinds of initiatives more.
Sweet. That's great. So another thing that we were talking about, I wasn't even aware, we were celebrating your organization winning an award, but you apparently give quite a bit of awards out as well. Can
We
you
do.
tell us about some of those?
For sure, yeah. We administer 5 book awards, 2 of which are for Nova Scotian writers and the other 3 are for Atlantic-wide. Yeah. So on the Nova Scotian side, we give the Evelyn Richardson Nonfiction Award and the Maxine Tynes Nova Scotian Poetry Award. And that award is given every 2 years. And so those are awarded in the spring. Every year we collaborate with other organizations that also offer Nova Scotian Writing Awards for the Nova Scotia Book Awards. And then on the other side, we have 3 Atlantic-wide prizes that we administer. We have the J.M. Abraham Atlantic Poetry Award. We have the Anne Connor Brymer Award for Atlantic Children's Literature. That's a $5,000 prize. And then we also have the Thomas Rattle Atlantic Fiction Award, which is a $30,000 annual prize for fiction writers across the Atlantic provinces, which is pretty huge. When you look at the awards landscape across Canada, the fact that this award has been supported by one family, the Rattle family out of Liverpool, in honor of Thomas Head Rattle, who was very well-known Nova Scotian writer. In his legacy, that this award came, and it provides an incredible time and space for writers to work on their craft, to dedicate time to their craft without having to worry about trying to pay your monthly bills as well. So It's quite a gift from this family, and we're very honored to administer it.
Amazing. So another thing we talked about, you have something else?
I can tell you about some emerging writers prizes too.
I would love to. Yes, please.
Right, so those 5 that I just mentioned are book awards. So those are submitted, published books that go into those competitions. But we also administer 3 cash prizes for writers who are starting their career.
Okay.
So they may have maybe 1 book published or none, but they submit copies of their work and are entered into a competition. So we have the Elizabeth Van Aert Emerging Writers Prize, and that will go to a writer who is a woman or a non-binary. Mm-hmm. That's a $1,000 prize. We also recently added to this suite of prizes 2 exciting new ones, which we're really thrilled about. So we have the Charles R. Saunders Prize, and that is a prize that will go to writers of speculative fiction or nonfiction. So Charles Saunders was a journalist, but also was the father of Sword and Soul, the kind of Afrocentric fantasy genre that really got its start with him. So That's a really cool one to administer. And we also have the Senator Don Oliver Black Voices Prize, and that's a $5,000 prize supported by Senator Oliver, and that goes to a writer each year who is African, Nova Scotian, or Black.
Sweet. So a tie back to one of our winners from last year, Andre Fenton. Mm-hmm. You talk about the Sword and Soul bit, and I remember him commenting on there being a dearth of fantasy and featuring like Black perspectives and Black characters and all that. Do you know if there's some kind of a overlap there with those two?
Between Andre and that
Yeah.
genre, well, I don't think that's a genre he writes in.
Not specific.
No, not specifically, but I hope that by, through this prize that we give out, I hope that we spread the word about Charles Saunders' work.
Yeah.
Perhaps it will become better known throughout the literary community here, and that it will encourage more folks to explore that genre, which, is definitely underrepresented, but it's very
cool.
exciting.
Yeah. So, in terms of what you offer, specifically, if I'm an author or writer looking to get published, you can give me advice towards whether I should be self-publishing or seeking a publisher, or like what kind of programs might you have?
Yeah. Well, so one side of our regular programming is helping people with the craft of writing. So that is mainly accomplished through our creative writing workshops.
Yeah.
But then we also focus on professional development and the business of being a writer.
Okay.
So we do run series where we have different industry professionals or published authors come and speak about how to pitch a publisher, how to write a query letter. How does a query letter look different if you're pitching a fiction work or a nonfiction work? And then, once you've got a contract, where do you go from there? How to promote yourself, what you can expect a publisher to do, which is different if you're traditionally published or self-published.
Yeah.
There are definitely pros and cons to each. And it's hard to say, we don't recommend one over the other. Of course, it depends on who's writing and what they've written and what they want to accomplish with their work. But the great thing, and again, this goes back to the writers helping writers of our founding philosophy, which is that we really try as much as we can to draw on the collective knowledge and experience of our membership. So we offer a few programs that help with that, especially when you think about publishing. We have a program called Coffee Chats, where you can actually book, a half-hour chat with a member of ours who is a professional writer to speak about any aspect of creative writing. But oftentimes people will try to have a conversation with a published writer who might have published with a publisher that that the emerging writer is interested in, and just to get some insider information. So that's a great program. And we also offer the manuscript review program. So if a writer has a finished work that they would really like, a fresh set of eyes on, but maybe before they submit to a publisher, that's a subsidized program that we offer, and we can connect you with, again, another local writer who will give you feedback. So as much as possible, we do draw from our membership for expertise.
That's amazing. I can't believe that this place even exists, to be honest. I feel like I've been under a rock. Is there a particular project or initiative that you're really proud of that WFN has been involved in?
Yeah, so for this question, it was hard to pick because we do a lot. But I would say that the organization, the board, the membership, all of the staff, we're most excited right now about a new gift we were given a couple of years ago. So the Writers Federation was approached back in 2021 or 2022 and asked to give an expression of interest if we wanted to acquire a beautiful home in Avonport, Nova Scotia, to use as a writing residency. So this home was owned by Neil and Jane Jampoulis, who were American citizens, but they were lighting designers and set designers and worked in both Los Angeles and on Broadway, and came to Nova Scotia back in the 90s to work at the Atlantic Theatre Festival. And when they were in the Annapolis Valley, they fell in love with it and purchased a home in Avonport, right on the shores of the Minas Basin, for their summer home. So when they passed away, they had established a trust in their name that would try to find an organization, an arts organization, to use this as a retreat and residency space. And the Writers Fed was approached, among with several others, but we were given this cottage. So it's Jampoulis Cottage in Avonport. It is the most gorgeous space. It is a 230-year-old house. It has 3 bedrooms and a massive deck and an expansive lawn that is right on the shore of the Minas Basin.
Yeah.
So you have a view of Blomidon out every window. You have very dramatic tides. You have murmurations of shorebirds coming and going. It is an incredibly serene and inspiring place, and we operate a residency program there. So what that looks like is we kind of have 2 streams of how writers can use the cottage. So we offer self-directed residencies, which is an opportunity for single writers or for groups of writers to book the cottage for a week at a time. at a very reasonable cost. And the demand for that has been just wild.
I can imagine.
Everyone wants to get in there. And so we fill up quite a few weeks of the year with that program. But then we also offer a number of sponsored residencies as well. And these are really special opportunities. So we found funding from various community partners to offer a number of residencies that are month long, which also pay the writers $2,000 to be there.
Sweet.
So it's a pretty great opportunity for them. So we've partnered with the Pope Foundation for poetry-specific residency. The Delmore Buddy Learning Institute has sponsored a Black Writers residency as well. And we've had other ones in the past year. We had a year ago, we had an Indigenous Writers residency, which will be coming back for the next year.
Cool.
So pretty incredible that we have this beautiful space and have it occupied, week to week by different writers. So what's really fun about that space is that, or what excites me is when I have a chance to go there and I can look through the guest book and see all of the people who have stayed there, even just within a year and a half we've been operating this. I think we're going to start to see in books that are published and written here, in the acknowledgements, the fact that this gift of a beautiful space has inspired so many people and given them a chance to write. So that's really exciting.
I was just gonna say, like, a couple of years out, and you look back and say, "Oh man, that person wrote that book,
Yep.
or at least started it here."
Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's trying to maintain a 230-year-old house from Halifax is a lot. So that's been a learning curve for sure for all of us. But a gift. We still can't get over the gift of that space.
Amazing. Oh man. So, is there something particularly special about the Nova Scotia writing community?
Yeah, I think there is. First of all, I would say that for a small province, we really pull our weight. Like in terms of Canadian writers, we have a lot of very, very accomplished authors coming out of this province. So that's certainly something to note. I also think that something that's quite special about Nova Scotian writers is how supportive they are of each other. We try to do a lot of that work of supporting them, promoting, but they do a lot of it themselves. When you think about all of the different regions in the province, there are local writing groups meeting at libraries, connecting through Facebook. Every week on Facebook, they're all giving each other, congratulations on just little steps in their writing journeys, and it's really lovely to witness that. So I would definitely say it's very supportive within the community. They all do a lot to uplift each other in their art.
Great. So one last question: what does this award mean to you?
Well, it's very special to win this award. We're all very thrilled. I think it's just really nice to get validation from Arts Nova Scotia, from the community, that the work we're doing is important. We across the arts sector, it's full of people on small teams that make a lot happen with very few resources.
Yeah.
So we're often we have our nose to the grindstone and we're working hard, and it's kind of seeing the fruits of our labor isn't always easy, but it's lovely to get recognition that what we do is important. And I think it really speaks to the fact that this small team throughout the years has had a really dedicated board, dedicated leadership that is nimble, that can quickly adapt to lots of changing circumstances like the pandemic or with funding or with changing priorities within the organization. And I think that the Writers' Fed has done a great job of that.
Great.
And so to get recognition for that is really lovely.
Amazing. Is there anything that we might have missed that you feel like the public should know about what WFNS does?
Well, I don't know if I would say what WFNS does, but what I would say is to the public perhaps is if you don't already read local, please do. There are so many great books out there, and I promise you that reading local authors can give you such new and exciting perspectives on the land that you live on. The stories of people who have lived here and who do continue to live here really enriches your life. The fact that there are so many opportunities for you to go out and meet the people that wrote those books is really special. It adds a whole new dynamic to reading something, and they're so grateful for your support, I think, as a reader. And that's what I really like, how this organization is not just for writers, but it's for readers too. So kind of the circles of our, I wouldn't say membership, but the people that we work with also includes, librarians, booksellers, publishers, other people that celebrate local books in lots of different ways. So get to know a local writer. They'll be glad for your support, and you'll learn a lot.
All right, thank you, and it was very nice meeting you.
Great to meet you too.
Great chat.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Art Pays Me. Hit me up on socials at Art Pays Me pretty much everywhere, and let me know what you think. I love connecting with listeners. If you're an artist looking for clothes that speak to the creative lifestyle, check out artpaysme.com. And don't forget, visit artsns.ca for more information about the Creative Nova Scotia Awards. Peace.